and welcome to Montrose Matters Live. I am Tanya Maddox, and I am in the studios today with Edward Bovey, and we are going to talk about the Old West. But before we get to that, you know what? The show is amazing, and I know for me to say that is a little self-serving, but you know why it's amazing? Because we have amazing sponsors who come in, they've stepped up, they've supported this programming. So Elevate Fiber, I want to give a shout out to you. Thank you so much for being one of our major sponsors here. Alpine Bank, couldn't do it without you. River Valley Family Health Centers, you are awesome. And the Real Estate Store, thank you so much for underwriting Montrose Matters Live each and every week. Okay, so for some more shout outs, Ed, guess what? There's lots of events that are happening on the Western Slope.
Well, tell us, Tanya. We're dying to find out.
Okay, see, I knew you were going to say that. So let me tell you about one that is happening tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to tell you about two that are happening tomorrow. But September 11th, do you know that it is the 20th anniversary of 9/11 here in the U.S.?
I think everybody knows that one.
Yes, it's, gosh, how 20 years just snuck up on us. But the folks at Praise Him Ministries have brought in this great ensemble for a concert and this amazing speaker by the name of Chad Williams, who is a former U.S. Navy SEAL, and he wrote this book called The Seal of God, and it helped. It's about how his faith helped him get through Afghanistan. So the timing is perfect. Then you hear from Grammy Award winner Chris Tomlin. You have Danny Goki, Jordan Felice. So that is all happening tomorrow, Rise Up 2021. And then tomorrow, the other thing that is happening is in Cedar Edge, the Valley Symphony Association. Do you like symphonic music?
Absolutely.
Really? Yeah. So
it's...
they put on, did you know they do 2 free concerts on the Western Slope, one in Cedar Edge and one in Montrose, and they're both happening this weekend. So it's Pops in the Park, so at the Cedar Edge Town Park tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and in Montrose at the River Bottom Park, it's Sunday at 5 o'clock. So everyone should come out, enjoy some symphonic music. I know in Montrose they're going to have food trucks there, and just a good time. So bring your blankets, bring your lawn chairs, bring the family dog, and just have a great time. Whew. Okay, I'm going to ask you.
That sounds like a great event.
Does it? See,
it does.
I can't wait to do that one. But on the 18th, if you like Beach Boys, there is a Beach Boy tribute band that is going to be here in Montrose playing at the Pavilion on the 18th. San Juan Healthcare Foundation puts on a concert every year. It's a fundraiser, and they are bringing in Surf's Up. So for those of us who like to say hang 10, you need to come on out and watch the Beach Boys on the 18th. Now, you know how we're going to close out this month of events? You probably know how, huh?
Oh, it wouldn't have to do with the West Fest, would it?
No, you're absolutely right. So on starting on September 24th, and it goes through the 26th, it's the Ridgway Old West Fest is coming back to the Western Slope. We missed a year. We're going to talk about all the new things that are happening this year, but put that on your calendar. There are lots and lots of things to participate and do. That's quite a few events going on.
Well, you know, we did it 2 years ago for the 50th anniversary of True Grit, and it was just a small group of people, and I don't want to say threw it together because it took a lot of planning, but when we were all done, we said, how are we going to top this? I don't see how we can make it better.
Well, I cannot wait to hear how you're going to top it.
And we might be up there and maybe top it, because we got a couple of things come out of the woodwork that we didn't anticipate, and it's a whole new look, and we know what we're doing now. So, and I think it's going to turn out. All we need is the public to come out and enjoy it, because we've got stuff for every age and every level of ability. You don't have to be a super exercise fitness person. You can just come in and enjoy stuff, and we got things for kids all the way up to 90 plus. If you're walking around, you can make it through the West Fest.
Well, I cannot wait to hear all about that. And guess what, folks? We're going to take a quick commercial break, but there's going to be costume contests at the Ridgway Old West Fest this year. We'll be right back.
employees, and we were in a double wide trailer with 4 exam rooms. So that's where we started, behind an elementary school, really focused on taking care of those children. It was a school-based clinic prior to us becoming an FQHC. But very quickly, we realized the community needed a lot more support, a lot more access to healthcare. So in the last 8 years, we've grown to 3 different sites. We have 104 employees now, and we're taking care of about 6,600 unique patients a year.
You're proud to call Colorado home. So are we. Since 1973, we've been giving back to the communities where we live, work, and play across our great state. And we're here to stay. If you're looking for an independent, locally managed community bank where the employees are also the owners, we would like to be your bank. We're Alpine Bank.
Okay, we are back with Ed Bovee from the Ridgway Western Heritage Society. I actually had to look at my note cards to make sure that
It is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Ed, can we start with, what is the Ridgway Western Heritage Society?
Well, it's just a small group of people, and we have a mission to celebrate, and that means have fun, celebrate Ridgway's history, which revolves around ranching, movies, and railroads. And maybe some of the newer people around these parts don't know all 3 of those things. And you know, Ridgway's that little crossroads when you're going to Durango or Telluride. You know, we have the only stoplight between Montrose and Durango. You know that? So
really?
That's when you know you're in Ridgway. But if you get a green light, well, you might be through town before you know you were there. So that's where we're at, and there's a lot of neat stuff in it, and a lot of neat people that are hiding out there.
You know what? I hear about celebrities just living there and moving to Ridgway on a regular basis.
It's a quiet little place, and some people like it that way. And in fact, how many of you out there know that they actually manufacture the Grammy Awards there?
Okay.
It's tucked away in a little basement of a storefront in downtown Ridgway, and the guy who makes the ones they actually hand to the people comes from Ridgway. And when you go through town, if you don't blink your eyes, there's a little sign that says Home of the Grammys there.
I've never seen that.
It's on the
sign.
north end of town. Yeah, it's there, but you got to watch fast because it's just, you're by it.
You know, a few years ago, it was time for the Grammys, and our local paper here, the Daily Press, which happens to print the Plain Dealer, that's the local paper in Ridgway as well. They had a story about the Grammys and the guy who designed it and manufactured. I never knew that all these years.
Right. Well, 2 years ago, it was a huge anniversary because remember I said movies is one of our big 3 things. So 50th anniversary of the release of True Grit. And we decided we absolutely couldn't let that slip by. In fact, 10 years prior to that, they did a 40th anniversary, and they brought back Kim Darby, who was one of the main stars, you know, opposite John Wayne. So we did it again 2 years ago, and as part of that, we put together a fabulous book called True Grit, a 50-Year Tribute, which if you want to get one, the nearest place is out at the Mountain West Museum of the Mountain West. The bookstore here in town unfortunately closed, so but you can also get them down in Ridgway. They're not on Amazon, folks, so you got to come to Ridgway or go out to the museum to get it.
Well,
but
you know
I digress.
what, Ed? You digress, but I will tell you, you can also pick up that book at the Our Town Matters Business Center.
Oh,
we
that's
actually
right.
have them.
I walked right by one coming in the door.
Yes, how did you not know that?
Well, that's even better yet, because it's right here in town.
Okay, how many of you, and especially those millennials out there, have never seen True Grit or know anything about it? It is a Academy Award winning movie.
For John Wayne.
Yes,
John
for John
Wayne's
Wayne.
only Academy Award ever. He only got one. He made over 200 movies, but only one, True Grit.
So do you know, this is going to make you a little nervous when I tell you this, Ed. Guess when I saw True Grit for the first time?
I wouldn't even want to hazard a guess without I'd get in trouble.
It was 2 years ago
Oh my
when I
gosh.
found out about the Old West Fest, and I had to, that it was the 50th anniversary, and I had to know what we were celebrating. And
Oh my
I
gosh.
watched True Grit, didn't realize there was a remake. Darn good movie.
Well, both of them were.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, we've got, I don't want to get on an extended discussion about the book, but this is a darn good book because it gives you all the behind the scenes stuff. Now, what we did was we actually found people living around here, even in Montrose, down in Ridgway, out in Cedar Edge. One of the stars of the show is still in Cedar Edge. I don't think you know that. But anyway, and we interviewed them and got their stories about being in the movie and put them in the book. Well, some of those people are going to come to the West Fest on the 24th, and we have a special session called I Was There.
Oh, wow.
And so we're going to have 3 people that are still alive, you know, because it's sort of fading into the history there. But Chris Bonatti from Uray is going to be there,
Okay.
and her parents at the time owned the Outlaw Cafe, which is still operational under new owners now. And John Wayne would come in there to eat because they filmed some of the movie up there. So she's going to be there. There's another fellow named Phil Martinez who was 14 years old, and he got to eat lunch with John Wayne for several days while they were filming up there, and he took a liking to him. And then John Wayne, we got a lot of good stuff on him. He said, well, why don't you ask one of your friends at high school if they can to come and have lunch with you? And he said, you can do this every day I'm here in town, but you have to bring a different friend each day.
Nice.
Yeah, so they got to sit at the table with John Wayne and the 2 kids and maybe 1 or 2 other, you know, whoever, and chat. And so he's going to be there.
Okay.
And then there's a lady named Alice Von Lanningham, and she was a friend of Chris's, and she was actually in the movie. And she found out about a part that we where they needed lots of kids, and she had short hair at the time, and they wanted somebody with long hair, so she quick got a wig, and I think she was in 3 scenes, if I recall, and she's going to be there. So 10 years ago we had Kim Darby, but you know, we have to mix it up a little. And,
just a little
yeah,
bit.
and there is a little few stories on Kim Darby I don't want to tell you.
Well, I want to hear a few of those stories.
Yeah, we'll have to do that after the show's over, because basically everybody said we don't want her back again.
Oh, okay. So on that note.
Yeah, we were dealing with the local people here that were
Yes.
still left. Now, 2 years ago we had, oh gosh, the fellow that painted the sets.
Oh, so I was going to ask you about that. DiGiulio.
Yeah, Bob DiGiulio. Yeah,
Bob DiGiulio. I had no idea. So I was at the VIP reception. I have to tell you, the society did a great job of bringing in, you know, some heavy hitters. So you had Don DiGiulio, you had Ethan Wayne,
right.
John Wayne's son,
Right.
and then we had Debbie Campbell. I got to hang out with Debbie Campbell and her band.
Yeah.
And but I saw this crowd around this gentleman with the DiGiulio last night, and I feel like I know the furniture store and all of this, and I had no idea who this person was. But everyone from Cedar Edge, Montrose, Ridgway, they came down and they just wanted to talk to him. So tell me about him.
Well, he painted a lot of the things you see in the movie, the signs on the buildings. He painted the tombstones at the end where Kim Darby's parents were buried and John Wayne jumps the fence. Well, there were tombstones there at the family cemetery. He painted those. And he even painted whole buildings because they built a courthouse out of plywood, and then he had to go over it and paint individual boards and make it look old, you know. So he was painting everything dawn to dusk, I mean, it was him.
So when you talk about the, the Ridgway Western Heritage Society and all that you do, which you haven't really talked about yet, the Ridgway.
We got lots to cover. Don't
I know,
go
you
away.
were telling me.
Don't go away. We
Behind
can
the
do an hour
scenes.
on this.
But is this, is that part of that Western Heritage Society, is knowing who the players were back, throughout Ridgway history and keeping track of them?
Well, we do some of that, but and a whole lot more. So, but while we're talking about movies, we have a lot more than True Grit to talk about, because How the West Was Won preceded True Grit by about 6 years. Ooh. And maybe you don't know it, but the Ranch History Museum is that big yellow building in back of the thrift shop, Second Chance. Well, that was in How the West Was Won, and that was made to look like a hotel.
Oh.
And so, so we have another big movie before True Grit, and before that, if you get this book, you'll find out about 2 more movies that were filmed down there. One is called Tribute to a Bad Man.
Okay.
And the other one is The Sons of Katie Elder.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Now, well, it's out. You can get it on video, rent it, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's a John Wayne movie, and it wasn't filmed around here, but it was based on a manuscript discovered in Uray and then turned into a movie. And the movie doesn't take place here, but the really interesting thing is the guys in the movie actually did live here, in real life lived here. So they changed the names, but there were the Marlowe brothers. And when you drive down to Ridgway, you go by the Billy Creek Wildlife Refuge. Well, that used to be their ranch, and they're buried there, and nobody knows about this. Well, the Marlowe brothers almost got hanged by a lynch mob in Texas. And they got run out of Texas, and they hid out over here, and one of them eventually became a marshal. Well, anyway, we're going to have a talk on the real Sons of Katie Elder, the Marlowes, just before the movie. So
this sounds like my story. I got run out of Texas too.
Well, we don't want to go there.
How did I end up on the western slope of Colorado?
Yeah. So we have six different educational presentations, not only about the movies, but we're gonna, since it's we got a pandemic going here. Well, we thought, wouldn't it be neat to talk about the last big pandemic over 100 years ago, the Spanish flu?
Right.
So we've got a doctor coming in talking about plagues and pandemics of the Old West.
Wow. Do you know what I heard that you have in Ridgway is an iron lung?
We have iron lung. That's going to be a part of a special exhibit at the Uray County Ranch History Museum, and they're bringing back some polio survivors for that on the Saturday afternoon for 2-hour reminiscences between 2 and 4 on the 25th. So that's another little facet on it. So we have all these presentations. There's 6 or 7 if you include those. We've got a presentation on the railroads. Ridgway's a railroad town too. Not too many people know that, but maybe. How much time do we have? Can we go into a railroad spiel?
We can.
Okay.
So why don't we do this? Let's take a quick break here, commercial break, pay some bills, and we'll come back and we'll talk about railroads in Ridgway.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll be right back with Ed Bovey.
At the Real Estate Store, we're a group of real estate professionals who share all forms of property brokering in an innovative way. Our expertise and experience makes us the best choice for buyers and sellers. Our brokers are ready to assist you, either in person or virtually. Come visit us in historic downtown Montrose and experience for yourself the difference of our personal, professional property brokers.
Believe it, just like Gigfoot, zero-lag gaming does exist. The real myth now? Slow internet made you lose. So step up your game with Elevate Internet today.
And we're back. We have Ed Bovey in the studios today with the Ridgway Western Heritage Society. We're talking about all things Ridgway. All right, so Ed, I learned a few things in this last segment here, okay? Movies I'd never heard of, and then individuals who got, they were almost hanged in Texas and ended up like living in Uray, on the western slope here. And manuscripts that were found later on is how we know that story.
Right.
History is amazing.
History gets such a bad rap, and everybody rolls their eyes when you say, let's study history, and it's kids, even back 50 years ago, always thought it was boring, and that's the way, because it was taught that way. Right. You had to memorize names and dates, and every week there's a new chapter in the book, and it never ends, and you're just burned out on history. But history is really fun when it's taught properly, and we're going to have living history in Ridgway, and one of the ways we're going to do that is with our Western Heroes and Villains costume contest. So we tried it 2 years ago, and let me tell you, these guys, we had people come in from Delta, from Colorado Springs. We had about 7 or 8 contestants. We didn't know what was going to happen. And they came prepared to talk about their character, and then they went through their costume and the type of gun, and we learned so much. The fur trapper guy was amazing. We had a guy try to be Wyatt Earp, and he showed his gun. He told what kind of bullets were in it, and it was just fun. And so we're going to do that again, and we're going to offer a $100 first prize as voted by the audience. So we're hoping we get twice as many contestants this time.
Okay.
And
so it's Heroes and Villains.
Heroes and Villains Look-Alike contest on Saturday. It'll be only 45 minutes long, so it's...
So can anyone enter?
Anybody, but you got to be dressed up, and you got to know your character. You don't want to just put on a hat and show up.
So I could be like these, individuals on the picture that Drew put up. I am going to figure out a costume.
Yeah, and men and women. It's men and women.
Okay.
Well, you can be Annie Oakley, but know something about Annie Oakley, when she lived, how good she could shoot. You got to tell something about your character. You can't just dry lab it.
All right, anybody who wants to enter the contest with me, you just let me know, and we'll figure out what we're going to be together. So tell us about this image that we just had up. Drew, can you put that back up for a second?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I told you at the start of the show that we had a few things come out of the woodwork that we didn't expect. What you're looking at there is the first Colorado Top Hands Rodeo Drill Team from Colorado Springs.
Oh, wow.
Now, the lady that organized this is named Ginger Patrick, and she's done this elsewhere in a prior life in Ohio and in a few other locations. And what she does is take horse crazy kids and give them an outlet, because in the more rural parts of America, in Midwest, California, you name it, you got a lot of horses.
Right.
And so you have kids that like horses, and then what do you do if they're not roping cattle or something? So it's an outlet for creative use, and they get into trick riding, pageantry, skits.
Wow.
They've got so much lined up. They are so stoked to be here. They're coming in 4 days ahead of time to set up and build a Western village at the Uray County Fairgrounds. They're going to have cattle drives. They're going to have cowboys and Indians, and she's not even telling us half the stuff. They're even going to bring in some Japanese cartoon characters. I mean, it's going to be a 90-minute Wild West show that she guarantees you will not be leaving early for. We've talked to her, we had her in for meetings, doing all the pre-planning on it. So this is going to be a new event.
So this is a family-friendly event.
Oh, absolutely.
Or the festival as a whole. So there's something to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, it starts right off, and Friday and Sunday are a little bit slower because people are coming or going. Mm-hmm. But the other thing we should mention too is we're going to have some special tours. For fair participants.
What do we get to see?
Well, one of them is going to be the restored Uray County Courthouse courtroom, And the lady who's going to be up there hosting it is going to tell stories about frontier justice in the Wild West as part of that. Now that's the courtroom scene where John Wayne meets Maddie Ross for the first time. And it was closed 2 years ago for renovations. They spent over $1 million getting that building up to code, and we couldn't take people in there, which was too bad because we had a lot of people coming in for the John Wayne tie-in. So that's going to be open just to West Fest participants. It's included in your festival ticket packaging. We'll get into that at the end of the show. The other big tour is going to be, once again, we're going to open up the, well, it goes by different names, the Maddie Ross Ranch out in the Last Dollar country down the way to Telluride. Now that is closed to the public year-round, but they're opening it for 2 afternoons to
just the Ridgway
West Fest participants.
Wow.
Right? You will need your festival wristband to get in there, but that's the only time you can walk around those buildings. Otherwise, fenced off, keep out. So those are 2 very special tours included in your festival pass that you can enjoy.
Okay, well, let's talk about the concert. So
right. The concert. We have another country music concert. We wanted Debbie Campbell to come back. She wanted to come back, but she had a schedule conflict. So we are bringing in Corinne Mari from Buena Vista.
Okay.
She is a protege of Michael Murphy, I think, Brown. I'm not good at country names. Martin Murphy. I always flip his name.
Martin Murphy.
She plays with him in a band. She writes her own music as well.
Okay.
She's got award-winning albums.
She's young and hip. She's new country, right?
Yeah, and if you want to check her out, you can go to CorinneMariMusic.com. That's her website. You can see a little video clip of her. You get into the concert. We've moved it from, it was going to be in the high school, and now we're made a last minute change. It's going to be in the barn at the Uray County Event Center.
Oh, good. So, and it's
4-H
open
center.
Air. It has a roof.
It'll be open.
That should be fun.
It's covered, but it has no sidewalls, so you get fresh air blowing through. We get around all the COVID stuff. You won't need a mask unless you want to wear one.
Right.
So we're going to have a real fun time there on Saturday night, and we're looking forward to that. We're glad we have her. And so there's... right there, tours, concert, costume contest. We haven't talked about the train rides yet.
Let's do that. So tell us what's going on. Can I take a train ride?
Yes, you can. Yep. Now, if you go to Telluride, in the middle of town, in a little side park, there's something called a galloping goose.
Okay.
And a galloping goose is a very special, I don't want to say train. The train people say it's not a train, it's a motor car.
Okay, and motor car. We're going to be very proper.
That's right, because it was built on bus chassis with gasoline-powered automobile-type parts. And the reason they did that was they wanted to come up with a lower-cost engine because the railroad was in financial trouble at the time. This is back in the 1950s after World War II. And the roads were getting built, and so the need for the railroad was going down, and so the revenue was dropping, but they wanted to keep it going. And some guy in a shop down in Ridgway said, well, we could build it this way, and then we can operate it with just one person. We don't need a guy to shovel the coal, and we don't need a conductor, we don't need a brakeman, and we can have one guy run the whole train. And so those were built in Ridgway, and one of them is in Telluride. They put it on a big flatbed truck, and they're going to haul it over, and they're going to run it around our half-mile track right there in downtown Ridgway.
So we can ride the Galloping Goose that weekend too, the 24th through the 26th.
Yeah, and they're going to give special tours of the railroad yard too, because all those railroad guys have got gray hair like me now, and we need some young folks to get interested in railroading. And so if you're dad and you got a couple of boys, you know, and you don't maybe want to do the horse thing with the top hands, you can get into railroading. And there's plenty of old guys.
Husband, do you hear that? You know, let's get Preston into railroading.
There's a couple of old timers there. They'll be glad to get some youngsters, and you know, they have work parties to fix up rolling stock. They've got all kinds of railroad cars down there that they're trying to restore. So every June they have a work party there, and you paint them, you sand them, fix them all up. I still have my train set from when I was 10 years old.
Oh,
believe it or not. It's packed away and I don't have room to set it up, but I still held on to it. So train sets and railroads and little boys were a big deal a long time ago, and it's time that kind of came around again. And it's another fun thing you can do as a family, you know, father-son thing. It's great. My dad helped me build my train set. You know, it was on a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and you know, you make the little buildings.
We're gonna have to get a picture of that train set. So
yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
so that's another thing. What else are we missing here that we haven't talked about?
So Ed, I have to tell you, we got just a few minutes, but I was meeting with the committee yesterday, and in fact, you were part of that meeting, and we were looking at some numbers. Guess what I found out? This is why, okay, everyone in Montrose, you should be excited about this. This is not just a Western Slope event. People come from all over, and there are folks coming in from Texas, from Oklahoma, from Pennsylvania. There are Western aficionados and John Wayne aficionados all over the United States that look forward to the old Ridgway Old West Fest, and they're staying in hotels in Montrose and you know, Delta and Grand Junction, and they're staying for the week. They're coming in for this festival, but they are staying and participating and you know, just other events around town, going to restaurants, all of those things.
Yeah, when we first did this 2 years ago, it was in middle of October, which was a little bit past the fall colors. So we're kind of marketing this as another thing to do when you come to look at Southwest fall colors in Colorado. So we're hoping the attendance goes up because it's a little warmer and it's more colorful. And you're right, we got people even from England that came in 2 years ago. I did
hear that.
Yeah, well, we got some publicity from a tour group that came through here of movie people that actually went around to tour places where movies were filmed, and they happened to show up here in the summer prior to the West Fest, and we got ads in international movie magazines and stuff. So we got a little bounce back from that, and now we've sent out invitations to everybody that came before, and now they're coming back. That's great. Yeah. So
well, Ridgway Old West Fest, September 24th through the 26th. It's a Friday through Sunday. Right. You can go to ridgewayoldwestfest.org. So ridgewayoldwestfest.org, and
Tanya will sell you a ticket in advance.
Okay, how about that? You can go buy tickets in advance, but it's going to be a great time and lots of history. Check out the website, purchase your tickets, make plans to go.
And we should tell people if they register in advance, they'll save $5 because it's $25 in advance per adult and $5 for kids. $30 out the door. So
get your wristbands and tickets early.
Get them early and come on down and see us. No matter what age you are or interest, you're going to find something there. Go online. We have our events program already posted, and you can see how many things there are. You get into everything for the one price. It's a heck of a deal for a fun weekend. Yes. You can't beat it for 3 days.
And you can pre-order books and other trinkets as well, and they'll have it waiting for you at the check-in at Ridgway Old West Fest. So Ed Bovey from the Ridgway Western Heritage Society, thank you so much for bringing the Ridgway Old West Fest to the Western Slope and just all the history.
Thanks, Tanya, and we will see you there. I know you're going to be there.
Oh, and I'll be there in costume. Have a great Friday, everybody.